Awesome. Okay, so yeah, hi everyone. Good afternoon. So you may have seen a few emails come through from me, but again, my name is Rachel. I'm a sustainability consultant with Noresco, and I'm going to be here to step in for Michelle Scardino while she's out for the next couple of months. I'll have my email and Michael Goodrum's email in the last slide for any of you to reach out to if you have further questions about decarbonization or specifically this Energy Star pathway, which we're going to be talking about today. Okay. All right. So the agenda for today, we're going to briefly go over the compliance pathways and then go into a bit more detail about the Energy Star compliance pathway. And then after that, we're going to go through a demo of what it looks like to fill out the Target Finder software, which is what you're going to need to fulfill the Energy Star pathway. And then finally, at the end, we're going to have some time for questions. Like Susan mentioned, we're going to have about 20-minute, 25-minute presentation. So yeah, we'll have plenty of time at the end for questions, and I'll keep a lookout as well if there's anything coming up in the chat. But okay. Okay, so like I mentioned, we're going to start with a brief overview of the compliance pathways and then go into more detail about compliance path 2, which requires the achievement of an Energy Star score of 90 or higher for demonstrating decarbonization strategies. So now I'm going to pass it over to Julie with River Architects to go through a brief review of the program.
Me?
Yes,
we can hear you, Juhi.
Okay, great. Thank you. Hi, I'm Juhi from River Architects. I am part of the Noresco's team, assisting you on this journey. And for those of you who have participated in the DRI project kickoff meeting with Noresco and us, these next few slides may look familiar. As just a quick summary, our team is here to provide high-level technical guidance on your decarbonization effort, and the services that are provided here are no charge to the sponsors, and those include, high-level brainstorming on decarbonization efforts, building envelope related support, or your stretch code, buildability, constructability, cost estimate, etc. Next slide, please. And as you know, we have 3 compliance paths, and today's focus is going to be the second path of the Energy Star Target Finder. Just as a quick brief overview, as you know, path 1 was complying with New York stretch code, whether it's a prescriptive method or whole performance building pathways with the energy modeling that's noted down at the bottom there on the path 1. And then path 2, as Rachel will discuss further today, this is about using the online software to find your Energy Star score. As she will remind you, it's not about certification, but the path 3, I know it's about the third-party certification programs, a variety of them. But as we said, today's focus is just on path 2, Energy Star Target Finder. And next slide, please. And Rachel, should I go over the whole 3 paths, or just focus on path 2, why this is useful? Probably that's best, right?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea since we went over a lot of this during the kickoff meetings.
Right. Okay. So Energy Star Path 2 comes in handy when the project team is already considering doing a energy modeling for the whole building performance, and this comes in handy when let's say the sponsor needs to find the Energy star score for other obligations, other programs, or they say, they have an existing building that they have acquired and they want to compare, how much performance improvement that they will get at the end of the project, or the team is familiar with Portfolio Manager because Target Finder plugs into that program. It's part of that program. And as mentioned before, this path it will require whole building energy modeling. Next slide, please. And that's you.
All right, great, thank you. Okay, so moving back to compliance pathway 2, again, you're going to need an Energy Star score of 90 or above, and you gauge this by submitting your building information to the Target Finder software. So this process is actually pretty simple and straightforward. You'll see in the demo in a little bit. But the difficult part could be actually achieving that score of 90 or above, since the Target Finder software not only scores you on the projected annual energy usage, but also compares your project's information to other similar projects based on, building type and climate zone, things like that. It's going to kind of compare you to your peers. So you need to, in a sense, outperform your peers in order to achieve a higher score. So just keep that in mind as you're deciding on a compliance pathway. This may be a good option if you're anticipating your project to be high performing. Okay, just a little bit of background. The Energy Star program actually launched back in 1992, and nowadays it consists of certified energy efficient products and building performance standards, which projects can choose from to kind of help their buildings perform more efficiently. And the goal of this program is to reduce energy while also accomplishing the same operational tasks. Which is going to result in less greenhouse gas emissions. And you can kind of see on the timeline towards the end there, over 40,000 commercial and industrial buildings are currently Energy Star certified. So it's a super widely used program. So yeah, like I mentioned, with the 40,000 projects nationwide, have the Energy Star certification, they actually use the Portfolio Manager tool to get that certification, which is going to be a management tool that you use to benchmark and track your building's energy performance. And for those who don't know, benchmarking is measuring and comparing your building's energy to similar buildings, past consumption, or reference performance level. So this would be for the third compliance path for the third-party certifications. Using the Portfolio Manager. But for this pathway, we're going to use the Target Finder software, which is a separate tool. It's still a part of Energy Star, but it actually gives you a score based on your predicted energy usage rather than your actual energy usage in Portfolio Manager. And so, yeah, the Target Finder tool is an online calculator that assesses energy performance of building designs and existing buildings. You'll submit some basic building information, and you'll need to complete an energy model to get the projected energy usage data to upload to the system. You can use the Target Finder software for new construction and for existing buildings. For new construction, you can implement it during the pre-design phase in order to determine what energy usage is associated with your goal performance level. You can also implement it during the design phase. You can use your building's anticipated energy usage from the energy model to compare it to other similar buildings nationwide. And so this is going to give you a score from 1 to 100. Again, you need 90 or higher for this pathway. It's also going to give you your national median comparison and a greenhouse gas profile for your design. For existing buildings, you can use the tool in a similar way. Again, to estimate what your Energy Star score would be if you made certain building upgrades, if you're thinking about doing something. You can also use it to establish a baseline to assess a property, either a recent purchase or something you're thinking about buying, to kind of see where it's at before you make any upgrades. And then you can also use it to set a goal for the building by determining the energy usage that it would need to achieve a certain Energy Star score. Okay, so at this point, we're going to move into the demo. I'm going to show you how to submit your project information directly into the software. So what we're going to do is we're just going to enter some basic building information. I'm going to enter in the annual energy use and building operation parameters that are going to be anticipated for the building, again, since we're kind of in the design phase. And then the target finder is going to take all this data and compare it to other buildings' performance that are similar to the project at hand. Again, it's going to be adjusted for weather and other operating characteristics. So I'm just going to stop sharing for a second so I can switch my screen. Okay, great. So super straightforward. Again, it's a no-cost tool. So you can just Google search Energy Star Target Finder. And then I'm going to click right here on the first one. Okay, here we are. This is what it looks like. And I'm just going to start inputting my target information or my project information. I'm not going to put this all in for now, but, and it's not going to change my score or anything like that, but I would put in all this information because it's going to pop up on your submittal documentation later. So I'm just going to type in postal code, order completion, conventional. I'm going to keep it at conventionally PA units. And then here is where things can get a little bit complicated depending on your property type. This one is going to be an office. So I'm just going to select office. But if you have a mixed use property or you're not sure what it is, I would go to select this hyperlink and it's going to give you a glossary of all the different property types. So just go ahead and select that. And okay, yeah, you'll select that if you have any questions. Otherwise, if it's a mixed use project, you can select here what the primary use is going to be. So if this were an office, but also has some residential space, but it's going to be like, 75% office space with a couple of residential units, I'm going to select office here. And then if there is additional space later, I'm going to select here, add another type of use rather than selecting mixed use property here. It just makes it a little less complicated for entering the information in. It's not going to change your score at all or anything like that. So you can add it in later. Okay, I'm going to add in the gross floor area, just 8385, and then this is just going to be a single building. Okay, so here's where I'm going to enter in all my property use details. Again, this is where you would add additional information for it being a mixed use building. If you have any questions about that, you can maybe reach out to me or Michael Goodrow and we could set up a meeting to kind of help you guys fill that out. The rest is just going to be that basic building information, 70 hours, about 35 workers on the shift, 40 computers, and then 50% for both of these. And then you're going to see over here, there's this use a default selection. Feel free to use that if you're not sure for any of these things, but I just want to point out that it's going to result in it giving you kind of an average. So I would just be as specific as possible when you can, because the target finder software is essentially giving you a score, and a part of it is your ability to perform above average in terms of building use. So I would just use that sparingly if you really don't know, but try to be as specific as possible. And then here's where you're going to input the data from the energy model. So I'm going to use electric grid for my energy type. I'm going to change this to kilowatt hours, and my estimated total energy use is going to be 85,733 at an energy rate of 19 cents an hour. And then make sure both of these change. When I was actually filling this out earlier, it didn't both of them didn't automatically change, or I forgot to change one of them and it changed my score a little bit. So just before you click view results, I would go back and make sure everything looks good. Finally, I'm going to change the target to 90 because that's what I need to get this pathway. And now I'm going to go to view results. So as you can see, I have a design score of 90, which is great. It's what I need to get this pathway. And it's going to kind of go through some of my information, saying that I'm 0.3% better than my target, which is great. Walk through some of my energy use intensity. There's a bunch of information on this page, and you can kind of use that for your own personal information. But what we need for this pathway is this statement of energy design intent over here on the left. And so I'm going to click download and print statement. And you'll see here, there's going to be 3 pages. We just need this first page for you to submit, along with your design documents and your energy model is what you'll submit to achieve this compliance pathway. So it has my Energy Star score, and then it has all of the details about my project, some stuff about my emission results and all that. So this first page is what we're going to need. I would fill out this information if possible. You can print it out and scan it. Or you could also submit a cover letter along with it, just kind of with the project architect's information and maybe a certification from them certifying that all this information is correct and they looked over it. We're going to look over it all anyways, just to double check, making sure everything looks good, but just to kind of streamline the process. And then that's going to be it. So like I mentioned, it's pretty simple and straightforward. Once you get this 90, that's pretty much it. It just could be achieving the 90 itself could be a little bit difficult. So if you're going to be doing an energy model anyways, it can't hurt to just plug it into this software. Like I said, it's no cost. So just to even see where you're at is super easy to give it a go. And then if you hit that 90 without even expecting it, that's great. Then you're all set. Okay, I'm going to switch back to the presentation now, but we're just about done. Okay, so like I said, no cost, super straightforward option for DRI projects. That if you think you're going to be having a low building EUI, but maybe you're not sure if you're going to comply with the New York stretch code, this is a good option for that. And also, if you want to benchmark your building in the future, this is a good way to kind of get yourself started. To establish a baseline so you can keep tracking your operational energy usage using the portfolio manager software, which again is also part of Energy Star. It's just different than the target finder. Like I said, feel free to reach out to myself or to Michael Goodrum, who's also with Noresco, if you have any questions about decarbonization. Maybe you plugged your information into the Target Finder software and your score is a little bit lower than you wanted. Maybe we could schedule a meeting to brainstorm some decarbonization strategies. Feel free to reach out if you have any more questions. But at this time, I think we can kind of move into a Q&A session. So I think, Melissa, if you want to allow people to jump in.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, I don't see any questions in the chat right now, but feel free to put those in the chat. Or if you'd like, you can raise your hand and ask a question. So maybe we'll give people just a few minutes if they have any questions. All right, well, I'm not seeing any questions come through here, but thanks so much, Rachel. This is a really great and helpful presentation. And I think we have our next one on Thursday, is that right?
Yeah, I think they're both tomorrow. I think there's the New York stretch one is first, and then the third-party certifications is later in the afternoon. But I think the rest of them are both tomorrow.
Great. Well, great. Well, thank you all so much for joining us and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.